Oh, wow. Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday. Wow. September 8th. How excited are we? My name is Dr. Kimberly Barrington, and you are rolling on the road with the doc. I am so excited to have my guest back again. Wow. Wow. Latice Crawford, extraordinaire.
How
Yes.
are you?
I'm doing well. I told her we have just, really we up and coming now since she was on, in the woods and like this, like hello, hey girl.
Right? Yeah, like, oh my God, the
It's
signal
like
up here is nuts.
sound. We ticker tape and everything. Could put people's comments up on the screen and all branded. We've come a long way. We found a cure.
Come on, okay?
Yes.
Come on, Cure.
In case the people just want to know what I'm just what I'm talking about.
This medicine still broken, got me tripping. Yeah. I want the cure. You are the cure. Mhm. I want the cure, and you are the cure. I want the cure. Prescription, I can do what you do. I tried them all, failed to talk you. Too intoxicated to give you my attention. I'm all jacked up, I need an intervention. Cause I'm so weak, I need you, please, yeah. This feels so wrong, can't take no more. I had enough of all this junk. Get it out of my system and fill me with your love. Cause I want the cure. I want the cure. I can't speak for nobody else. But I sure do need you for myself. I want the cure. I want the cure. I need the cure. You want the cure. Yeah. Finally found something greater, stronger. Nothing else will ever do. My bad habits made me sick. Tried everything, tried everything, but nothing ever worked. Nothing else will ever do. That's what all I need. Right there with you.
Wow.
You're forever. You're my forever. You're my forever. You are the cure.
Wow.
We lost Dr. Kim. Oh no. Now we're going to have to conduct the show ourselves. So I will talk while we are waiting for her. The Cure. That's my newest single that's out now. Like it says in the little tape at the bottom, you can find it everywhere, any digital outlet. This project was very, 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 very personal and dear and near to my heart because it was about what I was going through at the moment, losing two parents, trying to find love, waiting for love, trying to raise my son, with so many different things that was happening at that time in my life. This project was probably written over a 5-year time span. Um, and it was a difficult, very, very difficult time in my life. So like I said, so many ups and downs and so many things that were going on, as I'm sure all of you go through. But I wanted for this project to feel like a Google search, you know, a place that people could go to, believer or non-believer, where they could say, I'm going through this stuff and I don't know what to do with it. And you'd come and you see my symptoms and you see all the things I was going through, and then you would look for my cure. And of course, for me, my cure is Jesus Christ. And so I hope you guys will go get the project. I think she's coming back in. Yeah, I can stop hosting now.
And that's how we do around here. Boom, we click show. We want to say good afternoon to Maddie. She is watching all the way from Arkansas. Hey.
Oh, Maddie.
I had to go over on the other side and cut the music off. I forgot what tab I was on. I was like, hold on, I'll be right back.
Don't worry. I kept the show going for you. Don't worry.
I know that you did. I think probably the first question that I have for you, where did the cure come from?
I was literally sitting here and just explaining that, just saying that it was a 5-year span of just me trying to navigate through life. I had my first and second projects out, but those projects weren't really, I would say, the real me. I was writing, of course, but I was also trying to just make the labels happy. Like, let me give you guys what it is you're asking for and keep it moving. I can't really say the real truth or the real thing. The cure was me just bravely saying, you know what, I'm on this healing journey and I want other people to be able to go on theirs as well, fearlessly, especially in this industry. It's very taboo to say that I'm having, mental or emotional issues, and that I'm not well there. You're labeled crazy or labeled lazy or, whatever, it is that you're labeled. And a lot of times people just say, oh, it's just the devil. So it's diminished as well, and it's not really recognized a lot, in our communities and in this industry. And so I wanted to, like I said, write a project that felt like a Google search, where it was, when you sit and you kind of go to Google to see, well, let me see what's wrong. Let me see what it is. Let me check the symptoms. And I wanted for people to be able to see my symptoms and then look for my cure. And for me, my cure was God, was Jesus Christ. And the many things that he allowed to come into my life to help me in those moments and at those times, whether it was through my village or just something my son would say or whatever it was. He really guided me through that season of my life. My parents were, sick and, passing away, very shortly after each other, and just many other things, I was navigating and figuring out. So yeah, it was just a really difficult time, but I found my cure.
I think it just to have somebody to say, I'm going to stop medicating, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to stop medicating. That's a difficult one. Yeah. I know that when we interviewed earlier in the year, you weren't necessarily moving away from music, but you were adding to a component that you really felt was missing. And I think you kind of touched on it a little bit right there when you said it's not always okay to say where you are, what you're thinking, and how you're feeling. And so as an artist, you had an opportunity. Maybe you can't change the system, but you can change how you respond to it. And this song was birthed.
Yeah.
So as you were transitioning into helping people on the other side of it, going into the whole life, what do you think that bridge was for you?
I haven't really been able to fully tell, my story as far as this journey, through the industry. A lot of people know about the things that have happened in my personal life. But, there was some really, really crazy, scary things, that I'm finally just now, being able to share with those that are close to me and be able to say out loud. I was really living somewhat of a very secretive, life. Because, this industry is a very scary place, and the things that people say about being blackballed and, people doing things that, to shut you up. I deem myself a very strong woman, and I am not chasing fame. And because of that, you don't really go with the flow of some of the things that are asked of you or some of the things that are put on you to do in this industry. And because of that, that hasn't always, benefited me. That has hurt me a lot, in this industry. And you wouldn't think it'd be in the gospel side, but it is. And I got to a very dark place. And I wanted to kill myself. I tried to, and I wound up in, the white room with the pads, and they were setting me up for counseling and, a psychiatrist. And I had set up the appointment through a receptionist, and she talked me through everything and took my name and all my information. And then she called me back and said, hey, I just wanted to call you to ask. I live up in the mountains. Okay, I came up here after divorce because I didn't want anybody to find me, to know where I was at that time in my life. I was very much, out there, and people knew who I was. And anytime I would go somewhere, they had questions and was up in my business. And so I came up here, and I didn't think anybody would know who I was or know, anything about me. And I purposely didn't tell people who I was. I remember, I'll switch for 1 second, but I remember going down to my son's bus stop, and I guess someone had seen me on a show or something else. And I saw them, looking like, wait, I think I saw her. And so they came and asked me, and I was like, oh, yeah, that was my twin Latrice. I kind of said something like that. People think Latrice.
So wait a minute. So I asked you, were you on BET Sunday Best? That was my twin.
That was my twin Latrice, and it was something that was so far removed from Sunday Best. It was something else that had happened more recent, and I guess they were flipping through the channels and saw me, and they asked, and they just were like, "Wow, we didn't know." But back to the original story. The receptionist called me, and she says, "Are you Latice Crawford, the singer?" And I said, yes. She said, I just bought your project and I just heard you on Sirius XM. When you come in for your appointment, and this is my appointment for my psychiatrist because I just tried to kill myself. When you come in, can you sign my, my CD? And I was so devastated. Like, my platform means more than what I'm going through. My platform means more than the fact that I just thought that I needed to end my life because I felt like there was nothing else left for me here. This person is still, she knows why I'm coming there. She knows all of my stuff now. I just gave her all this information, and now I have to be fearful and can't go. It's for my own health because I'm afraid that she may put the information out. That moment was very scary for me, and it sent me to a very dark place. But, God always has a light at the end of the tunnel. What I wound up doing instead was I was telling a friend of mine the situation that happened, and she suggested to me about finding a life coach, someone anonymous. They didn't have to know who I was. And I did. And that led me on the journey to know this is my calling. This is what it is. Like, music is okay, music is great, but this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm supposed to coach people through their healing journey, and it set me on this road.
How did you get a life coach, and be anonymous, but couldn't get a psychiatrist and be anonymous?
Psychiatrist, is through your insurance. So, you are giving them your information. First of all, you're referred, up here, with the insurance, if you have a specialist or meet a specialist, you're referred. In that instance, it wasn't me just seeking one. It was the hospital telling me, we will not let you out unless you agree that you are going to do this. Right. And so they were setting up the stuff while I was there. So again, they have all your information. They have your insurance card. They have all this stuff. It's very difficult to be anonymous with something like that. The life coaching, I was able to do because my friend actually knew the person she was suggesting, and she just told him, hey, I have a friend that needs a life coach. They want to be anonymous, and can you do the sessions virtually? And so we did, and I turned my camera off. They never had to know who I was. I created a separate email address with a different name, an alias, and I was able to do the life coaching that way, where they never knew who I was. I'm surprised they didn't recognize my voice because most people do. Yes. They didn't, and I don't even think they were necessarily so involved in music that they would even know who I was or recognize my voice from anything. And so I was able to do it that way. Gave an alias. They never had my number. We only exchanged through email or through that virtual session. And they knew my story. They knew my stuff, but I didn't have to give real names. I was able to, kind of just stay under the radar. But it was the best thing ever in my life. And now, I'm not ashamed of it. And so I've, obviously at this point told them who I was and what I was, and they know now. But, at that time, it was, like I said, just a very shameful time because it just wasn't something that was common. Maybe it was, and maybe I just didn't know. But, what I had went through and what I was going through, it was a lot of shame, in my story and just in the things I allowed people to do to me and, that I took because I thought that's all I was worth. And, like I said, it just led to a very, dark place in my life, but I'm not there anymore. And I am now helping to pull other people out of their spaces as well. So it turned out for the good.
Wow. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, September 8th. Can you guys believe that already? We want to say thank you so much to the Deaf and Hard of Hearing for rolling with us. And I want to say today our guest is, I'm sorry, that's my little that's purple. Yes. He has to be known and heard. But we're excited. We are not in Georgia. That's all I can say. We're going to keep her anonymity, We are not in Georgia. We are in another city and state. We're not in Michigan and we're not in Georgia. Well, we are in the United States, and our guest is Miss Latice Crawford, and you can see that it's scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Her new project called The Cure. It's available on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and Google Play. And if you missed it, we did play a little bit of it at the beginning of the show, so you can catch it on the replay, or you can go and support and buy it. I am just excited just to see your growth, to see you on television, to experience you. Like, you follow your favorite singers from, BET, Sunday's Best. You follow along. And, excuse me. Thank you, Voss, for that wonderful water. We're still waiting for them to get us. Yeah, we're still waiting. Still waiting. Wait, hold on. Do it. Just one. That was a great commercial. But to see you at the beginning of, I want to say this year, and now we're almost, towards the end. We're in the 9th month. And I just think that it's awesome because a woman carries a baby 9 months. And at the end, you're all excited. You watch something start out no bigger than a dot and get bigger and bigger and bigger and grow. And then, because at first nobody knows. Now everybody knows. It's like, ooh, she's pregnant. And you have birthed out something beautiful. Because you were just starting with, the whole life coaching and saying, am I the singer? Am I the life coach? Am I blending this together? What does it look like? And do I want you to know me or follow me because of the singer or what it is that I have to offer to you? And I think that this project, The Cure, gave you an opportunity to really lay the foundation for the two to be merged together. That they're not separate because it's all of who you are. We can't take away the singer because that's who you were called to be. And if you have to sing what it is that you're saying to pull them in and then give them, just a verbal message and not a sung message, then that's what you do. And to watch you figure that out, I know that you've got counseling along the way, but for you in this 9-month period to be able to mature that baby, grow that baby, and now here it is. How does that make you feel?
Successful. I think that we have a very different, everybody has their own version of what they think success is. And I think a lot of people place it in money, or things that they can see. For me, it's the peace that I have, that I'm so decided and I know, who I am and what I want to do and what my giving back looks like. So the peace that I've achieved, just in me taking time to do that process, and deciding, like I said, what it is, and doing it fearlessly, um, that makes me feel very successful, if I had to sum it up in one word.
We have realized during this pandemic that people have really been struggling with depression, anxiety, and with, you know what? I do think that I might want to commit suicide. And I think we've all had the opportunity to look at the ways that we have medicated. And if I can look at the words, let's see, I think I had the words right here. Hold on. You know, it says been popping pills for too long, not talking about Tylenol. I'm talking about the temporary fixes that I use sometimes because I don't want to trust you to fix it. All this medication still broken, got me tripping.
Yeah.
That comes from a place.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there are many, many people, and maybe it wasn't a pill for you. Maybe it was your job.
Yeah.
We don't stop and think about things like that. Oh, you know what? I can use my job.
Yep.
Real quick. I can use my title. I can use my positioning. I can, use even something as simple as, oh, I'm in charge of the carpool for
Yeah.
the kids. We can
Yeah.
replace that popping pills with something else.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you have used.
To be honest with you, at times it was God that I used as a pill, and I know that that sounds weird because it's like we're supposed to go to him, but I
Mhm.
was only going to him when everything else was wrong. I wasn't trying him first. You know what I mean? I was only going to him and medicating with him. Like, I'm just going to watch service all day. I'm going to read my word all day because I feel down today. But the moments that I was perfectly fine and that life was great and I had money and everything else, I wasn't thinking about God. And so I was still using him at that time as a temporary fix instead of my solution to all and everything, to maintain where I was. I was using him as a way to just medicate for that moment so I could feel okay again. And so even for that in the pandemic, I just was like, God, you know what? I no longer want to use you as a space filler in the moments when everybody else is gone. I want it to be that even when my life is filled, that you are still the center of and the foundation of, and then everything that I do, some kind of way trickles back to you. And so, even with that, I want to, encourage people, like, don't use church as a pill. Don't use your pastor as a pill. Don't use God as a pill. Sunday morning is not your, medicine for the week. It's supposed to be a part of a cure where, every day, all day is Jesus. And again, not saying in any kind of crazy content where you can't go to a movie, but just more so saying we really do box him into a day or into a moment or into a situation or into a certain result. And we don't just, we don't utilize him or trust him in all and in everything. And that's what I was talking about with the cure. It was so many things, whether it was a person, whether it was, a love or a guy or a friend or a sister. It just was all of those things in general. Just, been popping these pills. I'm not talking about Tylenol. But to be honest with you, I suffer badly with GERD. And I never forget. I don't know if I told this story on here the last time, but I'll say it for the new people. I remember me sitting at home. I like spicy food, and I had made some fried chicken, and I waited the whole day to eat it, and I wound up eating it really late at night. But in the midst of the fried chicken, I wanted so much hot sauce on it. I like red hot, Frank's red hot sauce. I smothered
Shameless plug for Frank.
Frank. I need
Yeah,
an endorsement for Frank's
shameless
red
plug.
hot. And I smothered that chicken in hot sauce and I ate it. And then, as the night went on and I was trying to go to sleep, knowing I have GERD, I went to go get my pill because I was on medication for it. And I knew I could eat this because I have the pills in my bag. I went to get the pill and it was empty. There was nothing left in there. And I didn't realize I needed to refill the prescription. And so the whole night I burned, heart burned, chest burning, mind just messed up, can't sleep, couldn't eat nothing else, couldn't take nothing else. And when you have GERD, you can't take like an Alka-Seltzer or Tums because it makes it worse. It can actually harm you.
Mhm.
So I rushed to the doctor the next day and, made an emergency appointment. And I'm like, I need help. My doctor said, Latice, there's a very, easy solution to this problem. And I said, well, what is it? I'm thinking they're going to give me another suggestion of a new medicine. And she said, you can just stop eating what you're eating. I was like, that's so simple, And so when I'm talking about the cure and just saying like I was popping all these pills, I wasn't addicted to the medication, but I was addicted to the ability to maintain the bad habit because I had the pill. And so that's what I mean. These things that we are using as a temporary fix to maintain poor behavior, to maintain attitudes, to maintain being nasty to people, to maintain isolating, all these things that we're using that we don't realize are harming us more. And so I will say that this year I worked really hard to wean myself off of those pills, the literal ones and the metaphoric ones. I am no longer on GERD medication, not because the GERD is gone, but because I stopped the bad habits that that continue to maintain the problem. So,
one of the things I used to tell the doctor all the time, whenever you go to the doctor, they go through, so are you on this medication? Are you on this medication? Are you on this one? They go down your medication list. And then they'll say, and we see that you have. I said, no, I don't have high blood pressure. I have stress pressure. She said, what? I said, I got stress pressure. I don't have high blood pressure. And I said, we're going to wean off. I was on 6 medications for high blood pressure, and my blood pressures probably stayed around 198 over 98 all the time. And sometimes it was 210 over 110. And it's like, oh, I'm passing out. I'm going to the hospital. You taking your medication? Yes, I am. And so they checked my blood to see what the levels were of the medication in my body. And they were like, oh, my goodness. You know what? You have the right levels of the medication, of you taking it on a regular basis. They could tell from your blood. And they said, maybe there is something to this. So I started looking at some of the things that were really bothering me. Number one, I started going to counseling. Let's start talking about it. Let's get some of this stuff out. Number two, let's look at some of the situations that I'm in that maybe I don't need to be in those situations anymore. Maybe I don't need to do those things anymore. Maybe I don't need to talk about this. So it was that same, process of elimination. And now I can tell you, I don't take high blood pressure medication anymore. So I went from 6 pills a day to no pills now, because why? It was not true high blood pressure. My heart was fine. There were no blockages. My cholesterol was good. There was not a physiological reason or physical reason why my pressure should be high. So if they don't have one, then they put that it's high blood pressure benign, meaning that we don't have a medical cause for it. So maybe there's something else that's going on. And that's something that I had to do. Even today, I found myself getting to a place where I was going to be stressed out. And, I was having a conversation, and to hear back from somebody else everything that I'm doing or that I'm involved in or lend my time, talents, and my treasures to, I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to put myself right back in that same position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing all of this to my attention, because, you get up and you do, and you don't stop and think, well, is this something that you really need to involve yourself in? Do you really need to be attached to that? And were you asked? Did you insert? What is it that you're doing? And I said, you're going to find yourself back on not only 6 medications, but it's going to be because you're not able to get up. You're in a wheelchair. You're not able to get up and exercise and do some things or go walk down the street to kind of just woosah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be worse. And I was just like, wow. So I've been sitting here thinking about all that was said to me. And I was just like, wow. Now, am I going to be proactive about it? Or am I going to allow this to be one more thing to fester to keep my blood pressure up, or make it go back up and have to be back on all of those medications? And then I sat and I read the words to your song, and I'm just like,
wow. But it's true what you said. We don't, I think a lot of times we medicate because we don't identify the problem. I did a course for the WNBA about a week ago, and I called it I Am My Business. It was for female entrepreneurs and women in business. And so I called it I Am My Business, meaning, you're not saying mind, you can't mind your business, but just saying that
I saw
me, the person, is my business before the work is my business. And I was saying to them, like, we confuse what we're feeling with how we're feeling it. So when someone says, how do you feel? I usually, am smart and say, I feel with my hands, but we confuse the two. And so I sat with them and I wanted them to really learn how to identify what they are feeling first and then figure out how they're expressing it. So a lot of times I would realize when someone says, well, how do you feel? I feel frustrated. And it's like, no, you don't feel frustrated. That's how you're expressing it. You're expressing it through frustration. What you feel is tired. What you feel is this or that. And the expression of it is that. And when I started learning how to identify what the actual thing that was happening was, I started to learn how I could deal with it and how to handle it based on that. But it definitely goes back to what you said. We allow ourselves to be diagnosed with things because we won't get to the root of it. And so someone says you have high blood pressure and you accept that and you take the medication for it rather than to stop and say, well, why do I have high blood pressure? I have high blood pressure because I'm taking on things that don't belong to me. I'm taking on stresses that are not mine. Back to sender, back to wherever you came from because it doesn't belong to me and I don't have to hold on to it. And so I think that's so important and significant. People need to be taking notes about what you just said because that was very, very powerful. And I mean, those are things that I do in life coaching, so just to see that you were able to deny that. No, you're not going to put that on me. And we're not saying, like you said, as believers that we're being crazy. We know that we can get things too, but just for you to recognize and say, no, this is happening not because it belongs to me. It's happening because I'm taking on these things that don't belong to me. So, yeah.
and we do that. And sometimes, as I was reading it and putting things together, and I'm like, oh, wow, the cure. People are going to say, oh my God, girl, I want to do that. But when we find out how simple the cure is, it's like, no, it's got to be something more than that. And it's like, no, it's not. It's simply saying today, if you are a grandmother, and this is probably the biggest one for Black women, I should say, or women of color, is everybody wants to drop the kids off at the house. How about today? Y'all go find a for real babysitter because you gonna pay them. You don't pay me. You make the assumption that because I love them, that okay, I'm just going to do it. I guarantee you, if you do that for a whole week, you'll be surprised how you will change your blood pressure. That constant ache. Because see, when your pressure is high a lot, you can get used to having that nagging headache, and now it's just a part of. Oh, that's just how I feel every single day. No, that's not true. Oh, well, the first time they wanted to tell me, well, you are a type 2 diabetic, according to the blood work. No, I'm not diabetic. I didn't want to accept that. It goes back to that blood pressure. Well, first of all, I'm stressed. And so I'm not eating the way that I need to. I'm up late because I'm running around, helping people, doing things, not getting to bed till almost 11 o'clock, and then realize, oh my God, I didn't eat. And now I want to eat a meal that I should have had at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, of some fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and some cottage cheese, and, a 32-ounce Coke. I'm now eating this at 11:30 because by the time I get everything together, now it's 11:30, and I'm eating all of this when I should have had that at 11:30 in the morning and not 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have type 2 diabetes. I know my A1C has said that it was at 9.0.
Right.
It's like I know how to get it down from 9.0.
Right. I have a type 2 sleeping problem, a type 2 too much responsibility problem, type 2 staying up too late problem, type 2 I be eating the wrong stuff at the wrong time. I ain't got no type 2 diabetes.
And I appreciate my daughter because yesterday I had a migraine. I couldn't even do the whole show. I had to put on and these are prescription. I had to have these on all day yesterday because I couldn't even stand the light. I was nauseated, throwing up. We did about 20, 25 minutes. It didn't help. there was a storm. And so when the storm comes and I see the lightning hit, usually it shuts my stuff off. I said, you know what, we're not gonna go through that. We're gonna get off in enough time. But again, to think about the cure, just something as simple as, Kim, did you eat today?
Yeah.
Did you eat? Mm-mm. That's why you're feeling that. Number one, you need enough energy to pull you when your body doesn't have enough energy. Wow, that causes your blood pressure to go up, and which gives you an internal headache. And if you don't take care of it, that turns into a migraine.
Yep.
And then a migraine comes with, I can't see, I can't function. You're nauseated. You're throwing up. You may have diarrhea. Or all of those things. And we're always looking for a cure.
Yeah. I'll tell you something that was a cure for me. I selfishly started scheduling myself into my day, just as much as if I had a meeting and I wouldn't break the time for that meeting, I started saying, this is me time. And so every morning, anybody that really knows me will tell you, I don't respond to anything until after 11 a.m. When I get up, I'm usually up, about 7:30, 8 a.m. My son pretty much wakes himself up. I don't even start school with him until 11 a.m. because in that first 2 hours of the day, I have to fill before I can pour. And I learned that about myself. I'm empty by the end of my day because I have poured out everything else without ever taking a moment to fill myself. So that time in the morning, I may listen to a sermon. I may read a scripture. I may write. I may just be in my head. I may just stay in my bed, whatever it is. Don't open my door. Don't knock. Don't, whatever. And the text messages sit there until I come from that moment and then I respond. Because even for me to respond to someone, I was realizing I'm pouring from an empty cup. I'm responding to you about your day, your problems, your stuff, your issues, but I haven't even checked first if I have any today. I haven't even asked myself, am I okay today? Do I feel all right? A lot of people will say, oh, well, you know how to put your words and stuff together. It's because now I actually take time to consider, how do I feel before I can, ask you how you feel or function, with you for the day. And so I started doing that for myself. And then I do it at night as well. I take a few moments to myself before I go to bed just to recall my day, just to, whatever it is. When I do that, oh, that's so sweet. I love that. That's so sweet. Oh man. Yeah, because it's important. It's important to do. And it doesn't mean that you're shutting other people out or you don't want to be there for people. But again, I think we live in a world where people, they predicate love or evaluate love based on how much of yourself you can sacrifice for them. You have to love yourself first. So what time are you sacrificing for you first before you love everybody else? So we're not taught that because we're taught that selfish. Well, I'm just going to have to be selfish. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it.
I agree. And I think that, I think what's so funny is that I have two phones. So if people don't get me on, if they don't get me on one, they'll call me on the other. And it's just like, okay, I just need 5 minutes to take a deep breath and just say, and that the cure is not that difficult. We're not trying to come up with a compound for a vaccine.
Right.
I mean, Jesus.
Right. We're just trying to get some peace.
That's not what we're trying to do. But I do want to say real quick, we want to say hello to Mioshia that's watching. And we want to say hey to Stephen Clark, Corey Alexander, Jolene Cranston. Wow. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. And I got to give a good shout out to my sister, cousin, Pat Sanders, all the way. Now she is in Georgia. She lives in Georgia. A shout out to my daughter. I love her to life. And she got my glam babies, Caleb, Chloe, Carter, Kobe, Carson. Nana loves you. But I think that one of the things that we don't do, as Black women, is take that time to fill our own cup up. To say, you know what, no calls, no texts, no emails, no nothing. My big thing is to shut my brain off. I love to put together puzzles. And, having the iPad, I lay in there. My husband said, you want a phone? No, honey, I'm not. I put it together. And I take pictures. You can do it where you can take a picture and create it into a puzzle. So, I go out there, I'm taking pictures of the yard and I said, yeah, I'm gonna put this together. Some of my material, my fabrics that I have sitting around waiting to be made into outfits, whatever my brain figures out. I even have one of my favorite shoes. I put it on the chair back there. And I was like, oh, I like that chair, but I don't know if I want to do the chair without something in it. So, just to put a shoe in there and take the picture and make it into a puzzle, something to calm my mind down. Just shut everything off. I'm not thinking about who needs to get paid, who needs to do what. That so and so called from this state, or oh man, did I do this for so and so? I can't think about all of that right now.
Yeah.
I can't. I need to take the 5 minutes to look in the mirror. And I see my therapist faithfully every other Friday at 11 o'clock.
It's important. It really is.
Faithfully. And, and I tell people one of the things that I know happens when you are in the public eye, regardless of how you're feeling, you have to portray yourself. Hey, I'm good. I'm doing well. Let's get out there. Let's do this concert. For you, let's sing this song. Let's do this show. Let me, be together to go testify before the Senate subcommittee today, about some disability issue, what law, what procedure needs to be changed in order for us to have a better quality of life. What area am I not touching that someone has called me with concerning a problem? Oh, okay. Got to take care of that. But not taking the time to say, hey, little girl, what's wrong with you? You all right? You have to put on this face, but then when you close the door to all of that, to look yourself in the mirror, I don't come to my therapist as that person on that side. I come to her as just plain Kim. I'm not Dr. Kimberly. I'm not Dr. Barrington. I'm not an advocate extraordinaire, talk show host, whatever it is that I'm doing that's out there, changing other people's lives, improving the quality of their life. I'm here in this moment to improve the quality of Kim's life.
Yeah.
And right now, today, Kim is broken. Kim made some bad decisions. And, I started it this way, but as I'm seeing this is not working, I need to change this. And I'm always honest with myself.
Yeah, I honestly realized that I was more effective, as a singer, minister, life coach, all of that. The more transparent I was about my own stuff. I had built up 12 years of me hiding, and just not saying it was wrong, going to shows, like you said, and just trying to act like I was put together, acting like everything was okay. And when I realized, like, you know what, I'm coming home and the people who are here are getting all of what I couldn't do there. So my son is getting this version of me that is just completely worn out, completely tired, completely frustrated, and I'm yelling at him and I'm not patient with him. And I said, no, I'm not giving that to him anymore. And so I said, these people are going to get all of it. You know what I mean? All of me. I mean, I'm not mean or nasty to anybody, but just meaning if I'm not feeling it when I get on stage, I have found very clever ways to say, hey, y'all, look, so we ain't going to be here long, okay? Because my toes hurt. All right. I've been standing all day, and I have no problem to just say it now because I think that they are so much more happier when they actually get, I think this is why people are so mesmerized by social media, because it's the first time in life that they are able to really, without the gossip columns, to know about an artist, and so I get all the time, why don't you post your son more on your page? Because this is not his page, this is my page. If you want to know my story, invite me to your church and I will tell you for a coin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing it on my page on social media because y'all say something about my kid, I'm fighting. I don't care how saved, how famous, I'm fighting. Okay. So, I have had to learn that ministry is transparency. Ministry is me sharing. Ministry is me making sure that someone understands they're not alone in their stuff and helping to deliver them. How do I know that something I say at that place? I've been places, Dr. Kim, where I thought I was singing the best I ever sang. And after the show, someone will say to me, my father was a drug addict and he missed binge so that he could come here tonight to hear you sing. Mm-hmm. You mean to tell me something I said had the ability to keep someone from doing drugs? I mean, this is the kind of stuff. One guy walked up to me and told me he didn't kill himself because he heard me singing on TV. When you know that you have that kind of just ability to help a person change their mind about something that could destroy their life or take away their life, that's real power, and you have to be so careful what you do with that. I can't afford to hide anymore. I can't afford to not say it anymore. I can't afford to pretend and act like I'm just great and okay and fine. I can't do it anymore because there are people who are losing their lives and they are looking at me to see how I'm put together. So when I'm broke, I'm going to say I'm broke. When I ain't got it, I'm going to say I ain't, because I don't want people to even think or believe this facade. Even this week, there was some things that I was not completely honest about with someone, a friend of mine from my past. And I said to myself, like, you know what? No, I have to fix that. I have to make sure that I go and tell them what that truth was, because I hid in that moment because of my own shame and me feeling like that I can't say this because somebody's going to know and it might get out about me. It wasn't, anything terrible or horrible, but it was just a moment in my life, like I said, that was very dark and just wasn't great. And I told myself, no, this week, if they're willing to hear it, I'm willing to tell it. If they're willing to listen, I'm willing to fix that area and make sure that if it hurt them that I didn't say everything, they know it now, and I didn't get that opportunity, yet. They haven't responded, but I did my part in trying to make sure, that I said it, because we can't afford that in these days. People are really dying and they're really going through things and they're really leaving here with a lot of things unsaid. And I told myself my dad will be the last person in my life that I allow to leave this earth without them knowing how I feel and what I have to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like doing it.
I know we gotta
go, right? As much as I don't like doing it. And I think that we said some really great things on today. And I would have to say the recap again is being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is being honest with yourself and saying, hey, I got some shortcomings. I need to work on that. And usually it's fear that keeps us from doing that. Fear of rejection, fear of not being accepted, fear of thinking that, oh, they're going to know my business. But what is so amazing to me is that as soon as you tell it, there are 15 or 20 people who have been waiting for you to tell your truth.
Yes.
That is the crazy thing about it, is that at the end of the day, there is always somebody who has been waiting for you to say it.
Mm-hmm.
They've been waiting. And, I don't like to always tell how things happen for me every single day. But to get those phone calls, to get those inboxes to say, I didn't think my life was worth living. I don't like being disabled. Or, I suffer from depression, I suffer from anxiety, and I can't do this, I can't do that, or I have PTSD, or I was, assaulted while on active duty as well. And I didn't want to talk about it. This is how it affects me every single day. But you told your story. Wow. You talked about it, and you still keep showing up. I sold lashes, and my logo was, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up. And it came from my doctor, because when I was diagnosed with cancer, he said, you're going to have a team that's going to hang out with you, that when you can't do it, they're going to be able to do it for you. I said, oh, okay. He said, because it's going to get hard, because I started out with a chemo pill. And then it went from that into, okay, we're going to have to do surgery. And I've had 6 major surgeries for cancer. So, everybody always sees this, the big long scar, that was 5 of them. And then to turn around after I had the 5th one to have thyroid cancer and have to have surgery for it, just within weeks of having had my last 5th head surgery, it was, I don't know this again. But to share the story, there was somebody there that was waiting to hear it. Because I said, you know what? I got down to the end. I don't think I can do this anymore. I'd rather die than to be healed. Whatever that looks like, whatever else y'all got to do. Yeah. I know I have children. I know I have grandchildren, but I personally don't want to experience this anymore.
Yeah.
And then to come up and say, okay, but I did it. I got through it. And here it is. I'm here 3 days a week live for the last 17 months and keep moving. And then, when you get those inboxes and you get those messages and said, if you made it, I can make it. And maybe it's not what I'm going through, maybe it's not as bad. Maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But again, it is that being honest with yourself and saying, today is not a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Today is not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not at my best. I don't think I have anything left to give. And you got to tell that truth to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
You got to tell. So I thank you for the cure. It's not as mystical or unobtainable like most people think that it is. Again, y'all, this ain't some virus that we trying to figure out a vaccine to. We trust a naturist. That's right. It's not. It's as simple as give us the top 3 simple things that you can do to the cure for your own cure. 3.
Take time to identify the root of the problem. Don't be so quick to medicate. And surround yourself with people that are reciprocal village members.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. I'm getting ready to do it. You know what I'm getting ready to do. You got to say a good old, it could be a congregational.
Let me see.
But just that, not something that you've written, but just something that's there. It may even be another artist because I'm telling you, I think that music, in the Bible, they call it the healing tunes, that God sent the spirit of depression to Saul and it would torment him so. And then he would call for David and he would come in and he would play his harp and play other music, and they were healing tunes to Saul. What is your healing tune?
Actually, it is something that I wrote on my project. It's called All in All. Really simple song. Just says, Jesus is my all in all. And when I'm lonely, hurting, on him I can call. And I am confident that he will always, always show. One thing I know is he'll be my all in all. Oh, my everything, my everything. Most times all I have, but always just what I need. My everything. My everything. One thing I know is he'll be my all in all.
Yeah.
Be all in all, in your own.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We want to say before we go, we want to say thank you to Jeff McCory, Brenda Quade, Christina Flowers, and Joshua Cranston for tuning in. We appreciate you. We do. We do. We do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a special love for her. Just because our sons have the same names.
Yes.
But we thank you for taking the time out to come back. And you can pick up The Cure. It's available on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and Google Play. Yeah.
Go get it now.
It is a great, 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 great album.
Thank
And
you.
I'm telling you, when you see the cover, it's awesome.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for rolling in here, hanging out with us, and just kind of giving us an update as to where you are in life.
Yeah, I'm always available. Anytime you call, I am here. Just say the word. Just say the word. I'm here.
I love it. Well, we appreciate you. And if you didn't see it all the way through, you can catch it at Dr. Kimberly Yvonne Barrington on my personal page. You can on Facebook. You can find it on 100 Shades of Disabilities on Facebook, Rolling on the Road on Facebook. You can find it at 100 Shades of Disability L3C on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch at 100 Shades of Disability and now on Twitter. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on tomorrow.